Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
All right. Let me just check and make sure this old guy has all of these electronics and computer programs and files and pictures and broadcasting and YouTube all together for your viewing pleasure. This is my first real actual stream that I feel like I'm doing for you guys. So here we are at Narita International Airport in Tokyo, Japan. Just gonna let a few more people get into the stream. I want to give a big shout out, of course, to my lovely wife. Thank you for supporting me in everything I do. Chief Sim Pilot, thank you for your support. I appreciate all of your support. I love your videos. So this is Chief Sim Pilot for everybody. Is another YouTube creator that does flight sim that has kind of motivated me to do some live streaming, and I've been watching a few different streams and over the years and decided this might be where it's at. So let's just rock our head a little bit before we get started. Just to let everybody know, we will be most certainly doing 2 legs today. We are going to go from Narita International up to Osaka. And then from Osaka, we're going to go to Fukuoka. I don't even know how to say it. But anyway, that's where we're going in Japan. So I've already got 1 flight plan squared away. So we're going to struggle through this thing together. And we're going to jump on board. The airplane is cold and dark. So check it out. Today we are Japan Airlines Flight 318. And you're going to see we're going to initialize the fuel, go to the flight plan, do the normal stuff that we do in my recorded videos, but we're going to do it live. So we're going to be struggling together. So I hope you guys are ready for a challenge. I hope you guys are ready to struggle together, because that's what it's about. It's about always learning and growing in life. And I find flight simulation a way for me to learn and grow in life. So there you go. Again, everybody watching, don't hesitate to check in, send me a chat. I'll do my best to optimize my responses. So there you go. So without further ado, we are most certainly going to go ahead and jump on board of this Boeing 737-800. For those that don't know much about flight simulation, it can be as gamey as you want, or it can be as immersive and real as you want. In my case, I like for it to be fully real, because I feel like I miss my calling as a pilot. But of course, God, family first. So you know what? I didn't have a chance to do that. So this is my world for this old guy to get in the air and make some stuff happen. I like that. That's right, Chief Sim Pilot. If it ain't a Boeing, it ain't going. I like that. The Airbus is bomb too, brother. So all right, guys, without further ado, we're gonna jump on board. Let me know at any time. Again, I'm new at this. If the music is too loud, I'll mix it down, whatever, but I like to keep rocking. We're gonna go to a sterile cockpit whenever we take off and land, meaning no music, sterile cockpit, quiet. I might even be quiet. It's a lot of concentration that has to happen when you're landing the plane, entiendes? Anyway, just kidding. A little Spanglish humor there for you on this Saturday holiday during the holiday season. So let's go ahead and jump on the flight deck. Also, so you know, this thing on my hat, this is this little sensor's track IR. I'm usually not a hat guy, but in this case I need to use it because I don't have, there's another piece that can go like on the side of your head. I don't have that, so it goes on the hat. So that's what you see. So sorry if I whip around. I'm fixing my views. It's gonna happen, I promise you. Let's go ahead and get some power on the aircraft. So the first thing we're going to do, of course, is you always want to make sure your parking brake is set. So in this aircraft, the parking brake is right here, and you can see it's set, but there's no light illuminated simply because we don't have any power on the aircraft. So without further ado, we need to jump over here to this sweet little tablet and use this as our interface. We're going to go ahead and go to our GPU, which is the ground power unit, and we're going to connect it. Jumping up top, folks, now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. So let me slide my view up slightly for you. We're going to go ahead and get this battery to the on position. All right, and then you see here is a selector for ground power. We are going to select on, and then that's going to give some power onto the aircraft. And we are most certainly going to turn our position light to steady, which is the different color lights at the end of the wingtips. And then, of course, we also need to come up here and do a few different things, such as get our IRS on. But first, before we do that, let's get our emergency light situation going on there. And now we're going to get our IRSs going for our navigation. So we got to come all the way up top and click these bad boys to where they say nav. Not a line, but to nav, because we want that to get sent to our flight management computer. Now right here you can see standby power is on. However, we are going to want ground power reading because that's the feed of electric into the aircraft. Another situation that I always put on earlier is the yaw damper. You can go ahead and put that on now. Of course, it's not going to be used until, of course, the aircraft is fully on and functional and we do our flight controls check. Another disclaimer. I haven't flown in Japan. I've pretty much been flying in the US for quite some time, so we're going to struggle here. Fortunately, right now, there is no air traffic control. We are logged on to the Vatsim network. I do still need to file a flight plan, and perhaps we can do that situation together. All right, so now we have everything up top going on here. We most certainly need to jump down bottom now, and you'll see the aircraft is coming alive in its own right. Let's come over here to this FMC. Nav data is not at a date. I don't know why it says that. I use Navigraph, so I have all the active charts and everything, so, and it's not cheap. So here we go. We're going to position our aircraft now into the current location which we are, which is the Narita International Airport. So we are going to do RJAA, or Romeo Juliet Alpha Alpha, as the reference airport. We're going to click that in. Now we have to go to the next page and get the last GPS reading, which these are pretty much the same. You can see our GPS's left and right are reporting the same thing, so that's an accurate location. All right, now that we put this in, the aircraft is most certainly going to start aligning. This is real align time, so that's going to take a hot second, but it's not like we don't have any work to do. Now check this out. Outside of the cockpit, you see here it says time 0024 Zulu. Simply, this is Greenwich Mean Time, or GMT, or Zulu time, the actual time that every time zone bases their time off. So that is the actual time right now. And I believe here in Japan it's about 10 in the morning. So we should have some excellent conditions for our flight. Okay, now we are most certainly going to, let's see, let me see, go back to the ground, chalk set, we don't need that. We need to go ahead and do some performance stuff like fuel, weight, and balance, so we're going to get right in there. Let me check in on y'all. Hey, honey, I got my daughter, Gigi, saying hi, what's up, babe, thanks for the support, and all my kids, just so everybody knows and there's no mistake, I do have a small football field of children, 6 in total, 4 in the house, of course, love them all to death. Ranging from ages 22 all the way down to the ripe age of 4. So checking in, and looks like I'm doing good here on the comments, so let's keep rolling. I'm trying to be mindful, folks. Again, this is kind of new for me being this interactive, so I'm going to do what I can. So now we have the fuel and payload and everything here that we're going to get situated for takeoff. So before we get the fuel, we want to make sure that we can get the payload going here. So I like a full aircraft because in reality, everybody's flying with a full aircraft right now. COVID's changing that a little bit because not everybody's flying, but typically they fly with an extremely loaded aircraft. So let's go ahead and work on this payload situation here. So it's going to bring us into another screen, and you can see here's the max weights, and all these weights are based off, I think, of a 180-pound guy or something. You can come over here and look. The male standard weight is 191 pounds, so I guess I'm closer to the female. This is actually about my weight, plus or minus about 2 or 3 pounds. So I guess I'm in the female category today. Whatever. Gotta, you know, be secure in who you are. So we are just gonna load 15 up front, and for all these numbers, we'll assume there is that off chance that 1 or 2 people is gonna be missing. So we're gonna fly with that spirit. So there'll be variances of a few. This one will have 36 people. So essentially what we're doing now, we're loading the aircraft as they would. So here's the different zones here. So if you aggregate this, you know, simple math here, 3 times 4 is 120, 125, 130, 140. And then you can go ahead and just add this on too. So that's 140 plus another 15 comes out to 155 souls on board, not including the crew. And we are also going to do some cargo hold stuff here. So I'm going to put about let's see, we'll do about 25. Actually, no, you know what? Let me clear that out. Let's do about 3,000 pounds up front, and we're going to do about 4,500 pounds in the back. Now, one other thing that we can do is we can see this center of gravity. I don't like that, so typically what I'll do is I'll balance out the weights. So let's come over here and add more weight now to this front cargo hold and see what this is doing to our center of gravity. And you see it's got it right kind of where I want to be. The reason why the front cargo hold needs more is simply because there is more weight in the center of the fuselage, and there's more weight in the back. There's APUs in the back, and there's other things in the back, so we needed to add more weight to kind of tip that scale. Hey, Dad, how you doing? Thanks for checking out the stream. Hey, what's going on? Geo, what's up? Jeff from Hollister, thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for all of your support. I'm glad you guys are here checking me out, and we're gonna do this together. So whether you join the stream now, we're gonna be in the air for about 2 hours. The stream's gonna probably be going for about 3.5 hours. So take breaks, come check out the stream. It's all good. All right, now what we have here is our payload situated. It's showing the aircraft's zero fuel weight is 134,773 pounds. The fuel, of course, is not where we want it, but in order to go ahead and rationalize what our fuel is going to be, we need to come over and jump in the good old trusty dusty flight plan. So that's what we are going to do. So let me get that situated here. And we're going to bring that in, folks. Okay, so now we are here in our flight plan, which is a very important document for us pilots. OFP, Operational Flight Plan. It gives some information. We are at Narita International, headed to Osaka International, of course. And our cost index today is 45. And that basically has to do with how much the airline wants us to burn fuel and expenditures, those variable costs, those operating costs, of course. Today, this first leg flying time is going to be about 1 hour and 11 minutes. We're going to be burning 7,144 pounds of fuel with contingency of 1,504 pounds. The alternate, which is to a different airport, which is actually the other airfield that we're going to, is only 2,530 pounds of fuel, and the actual flying time, and that might not be, I got to double check that just to be on the safe side. That time doesn't look right. The other flight should be about 50 minutes as well, but I could be wrong. But if it's not, then we only have 29 minutes basically on the next leg, with the final reserve of 2,327 pounds. That gives us an aggregated amount of fuel plus our taxi of 14,005 pounds of fuel. I am most certainly going to be probably putting 15,000 pounds extra fuel on for pilot's discretion. And then after that, you guys can see here, this is the trusty dusty route that we're going to be taking and that we will be programming together. All right, let's get this out of here now, and let me go ahead and reference these numbers. But I just want to show you guys that so you know where I'm getting those numbers from. So now we can most certainly go back to the fuel page and enter our fuel of 15,000 pounds. Now you can see we've got the fuel required on board is 15,000 pounds, and it also is this is probably won't show up on the landing weight until we're either air. I'm not sure when this shows up, but this is basically our landing weight center of gravity, which the aircraft is gonna, once everything is on board, which it's not now, the aircraft is actually going to initialize that. So now what we have to do is grand total, checking everything, people are getting on board, so now what we got to do is actually get the fuel on board. So we essentially need to get the fuel truck coming up. So the fuel truck is coming, and it's going to be throwing in some fuel. And then we can also come here and let's see here, start ground cruise. I'm trying to remember where the doors opening up on this bad air stair. We can, oh, here we are, the doors. So let's go ahead and open up that forward entry. Let's also do the cargo doors. and we'll open that one up. And let me check on you guys. All right, so we're doing good so far. So we've got fuel coming on the plane. You can see our IRS has went ahead and initiated itself, and now we can just keep cruising right along. Now, if you want to see if the fuel is actively being loaded onto the plane, you can see right here these numbers are moving. This is the left tank and the right tank. I don't anticipate us having fuel in the center tank, but if we do, then once these two fill up, and you can see they are more than half capacity, they're not quite 3/4 yet, but if they were to fill up, which I don't think they will be, then this would have fuel in there, and then we'd essentially have to work on that animal. Now let's jump outside really quick and see what is popping. You guys can see obviously Shell has decided to travel to Japan as well, which I'm sure they're over there, and you can see our trusty feller right here filling everything up, and we'll assume the ground and stuff, everything is going to be coming. Otherwise I could do the Control S. I forgot what it was again. I usually don't do this part, but we'll assume this is going to load up here. But we do have the aircraft at the gate. Now really quick, I'm going to show you guys where you will be sitting, of course. So without further ado, let's jump back into some of you will be sitting on this side of the aircraft, and of course you have a nice rusty dusty view of the gentleman outside, looking awfully impressed at his job. It's important work. And then of course some of you will be sitting on this side, and just to know who your little buddies are, check this out. You guys are already sitting next to passengers, and guess what? She is not wearing a mask. So I hope that you have your mask on, because she is being completely irresponsible, and I hope your family is not relying on her to keep you safe, because all these passengers have no mask on. The good thing is that it is a virtual environment, so let's take ourselves back to when there was no COVID, live free, and keep making it happen. Now let's go ahead and get into the flight plan. So I just wanted to show you guys where you're going to be at in the back. So thank you for allowing me to show you that. Now we're going to get into the flight plan. We'll check the Vatsim Scope, see what aircraft, if there's any ATC out there, and then we're also going to be looking at Navigraph and making sure we file that flight plan on the Vatsim network. Let me stop in and check in. All right. And I see my mom is actually saying that this is exciting. I'm glad you're watching, Mom. Love you guys so much. Hope you guys are staying safe out there in your little vacay. What we got here? The Zebo has a mod on forums that places a mask on them. Oh man, Chief Sim Pilot, man, you just keep the good information coming, my brother. So keep it coming. You guys hear that? So if you virtually want to have these passengers be responsible in today's climate, you will put the mod on where they have masks on. Boy, I'm telling you, everybody thinks about everything. Okay, let's go ahead and get this done, because I want to get us up in the air so that we can most certainly get the excitement going. All right, so we're here back in our FMC, and if you guys want to know where we're looking, for those aren't familiar with the aircraft, we are basically looking down. A lot of my views, I do quick views so we don't have to pan around and do all this madness, and you'll see other simmers, they have quick shot set up as well. So some of the shots will be here. This is the lower pedestal. This is where our ATC beacon or squat code will be going in. These are our radios, and as you can see, these is the first officer's comms panel. These are some fire tests. We won't be running through this. I know, like, I watch a real Boeing 737 pilot, man, he zips through it. He's bomb. He's actually from the UK. We're not going to be doing all these little tests, but we will do enough to make sure we're up and flying. Parking brake is here. These are our fuel selectors to introduce fuel into the engines. This is the throttle quadrant. This is our trims wheel. This is our spoiler. So I mean, there's a bunch of stuff here, so just know that we are going to be jumping around the aircraft, and you guys have already most certainly seen up top. Again, if you know the view that I'm going to be doing when I look up top, this is what you guys are looking at right here. But if I come with the quick view, bam, there it is right there. So don't get confused about where I'm at in the aircraft. I just wanted to let you know that that's where it's at. Ooh, it's getting a little warm here. Let me use my little trusty dusty. My wife says I'm the only person that she knows that I sweat on my nose. Go figure. Greetings from Florida. Oh my goodness. Is it the Cessna Captain? I can't believe it. What's up, Cessna Captain? I flew with the Cessna Captain in one of my videos. If you go to my channel and look at our island hopping in the Caribbean islands, we flew over to Saba and St. Bart's and Princess Juliana Airport. So it's good to see you on the stream. Welcome. I'm glad to see you're doing well. We'll have to catch up and do some flights, of course. So let's keep rocking and rolling here. Now we're going to put in this flight plan. So let's get in right here to where it says the route. And you guys, please let me know if the music's too loud. I don't want to blow your ears out, but I feel like right now is a good time to just rock. Keep our minds straight, you know, keep that focus. Okay, RJAA, or Romeo Juliet Double Alpha, is going to go right here. It was already in the scratch pad. Now we're going to choose our rusty dusty arrival airport, which is Romeo Juliet Oscar. And let me double check that just to make sure that's what it is. That way we're not flying to the wrong location. Okay, 318 jumping up in this piece is our flight number. So we are Japan Airlines 318. Now we're going to get into the route. So prior to us getting into the route, we also need to check the weather. So, I mean, I know it's a lot to do, but we want the realism. So this is what really it is while you guys are waiting to board the aircraft and getting seated. This is what your captain and first officer are doing. They usually get on the airplane before you guys, but in the case that they don't, they're rushing to do all this. All right, so we are essentially at Narita International Airport. The winds, as you can see, are out of the north today at 17 knots. That's a pretty good headwind there, so we should be getting some lift. Hopefully we don't have to do any crosswind takeoff or anything like that. Hopefully that gets us directly on our nose. Visibility's at 10,000 meters, which is good. QNH is 102.0, and the temperature outside is 5 Celsius, or negative 5 Celsius. I'm sorry, 5 Celsius. The dew point's negative 5, and the Fahrenheit is 23 degrees. So this is very important. And the last meter I was done at 9, so we should be getting an update here shortly. So our first. Now let's go ahead and let me pull in where we are on the field, because it needs to make sense for you guys, since you guys are involved in this too. I make a mistake, you guys make a mistake. You guys are my first officers and passengers, so you guys are wearing several different hats. So here we are on the field, as you can see. And this is the gate that the actual Japan Airlines, I believe it's flight 118, goes from. We just changed the name, but they do really fly a Boeing 738-800 on this route, so we are actually simulating that. Now we are in luck, folks. We have a nice long runway that's heading 340, so the disparity of where the wind's coming is only 7 degrees off. As you can see right here, I'm looking down here, and so it's 337 is our runway heading, so we are most certainly going to be taking off runway 34 left. And we want to also look at our star, and our star I believe was a Sakura 4. Let me double check that in the old rusty dusty flight plan, of course. Alright, so Sakura 4. Now, why this is important? People are saying, why are you getting this before you start programming it? The departures that SimBrief gives you, and that's what I use. Some people use PFPX. I don't have that. I use SimBrief, and I have Navigraph, as you see. But why that's important is if they're giving me a standard instrument departure, which that's what SID stands for, but it doesn't apply to that runway or my type of aircraft, I have to switch it up. Or if there's ATC, they will switch it up for me because it's not appropriate for our departure. So having said that, that's why we have to check it out. And then essentially before I start programming this in, I also look at the departure and make sure that that looks good. 34 left looks good. This is all the language right here that we need to pay attention to on this departure. And that's what we'll do. But we know at this point I can program it in, and now you'll see why that's important. We'll be referencing that quite a bit. So now before I even start getting the route in, I am most certainly going to put in the departure. So here's the departure and arrival, and we'll be getting some of these lights turned on so we have more illumination in here. Actually, let's do that really quick because I don't know how dark it is coming for you guys, so we got to kind of skirt around the flight yoke here. Let's get our flood turned up, our background, and then we're going to sneak over here on this side and put our main panel lights on. You see them illuminating, of course. I like that illumination. And I think we can see everything else from that side. Now you guys are saying this is not illuminated, but that's on the lower pedestal. If we sneak right over here, here's some switches over here that I'm going to turn up. And now you see the pedestals coming up. And lights, I like a nice bright cockpit, folks. And now you can see the FMC's lights are most certainly illuminated here. So now let's click on this departure and arrival. We're going to come right over here to departure, of course, and we don't see the Sakura 4, but we come down to our next page. This is our page listing. We're on 2 of 2. Here is the Sakura 4, and then of course we need to look for what's called our transition VOR fix on the departure, which is basically our exit way, and that's SZE, or Sierra Zulu Echo. And of course here, guys, we said runway 34 left. Now we can go back to the route. We're not going to we can activate it, but we'll reactivate it again. We'll execute that, but even though that's going to be changed again. So now we see we have that Sakura 4 in here. Now, for those who are not familiar with how we do this, this Sakura 4 is a list of waypoints, fixes, and certain instructions, meaning speeds, vectors, or flight paths that we should be on, and altitudes. And we'll see that once we look at the departure. So this Sakura 4 has more than just this. But after Sakura 4, we go right into an airway. So now we're going to type in Yankee 295. Bada bing, bada boom. We're not going to modify it just yet. And this is an airway, so this is basically another highway in the sky. But we reference it as an airway, and it has, again, multiple points on it sometimes, most of the time. And then we're going to exit that at Gyaki. I like that word, Gyaki. My kids always know I call them different nicknames, weird words that I find out, so I might be calling them Gyaki. Then we go right into another airway of Yankee 55. From Yankee 55, we're going to exit that at another fix, which is Kowa. Kowa, I love the names of these. My wife and I laugh quite frequently at the names of some of these airways and fixes. Yankee 546 is coming right in for the next airway. And I'm going to check on you guys in a minute and see if anybody's chatting me up. But I just want to get this up and going so we can get to a point where we can all chat it up and kick back and relax. I might even let you guys fly for a hot second. Now let's go ahead and execute this. We're not done yet because we still need to put in the arrival. So back here to this departure arrival button. Now we're not going to select any of these because this is only referring to Narita International. We want to go over here to Osaka. And we are going to be arriving on the Ikome. And transition, it says none, but there actually is a trans, but I guess there is no trans for this arrival. We don't know what runway we're going to select just yet. There's nothing else on page 2, so we're just going to execute that. Now we come right back over here to the route, and let's check it out. You like that? It was like a little German. It's to the route. You guys are going to know I do several different impressions, so sorry about that. I am a silly guy. Can't take yourself too serious. Okay, so essentially what we did, let's check our routes page. The route page looks good. It's not flashing anything saying, hey, fix me, fix me. So now I'm going to go double check this route in the legs page, and it's looking good. You can see here, this is the altitude section of it along with the speeds. And you can see here, it's giving us some restrictions here in which we must adhere to on the departure. Now we're checking for what we call discontinuities, and there's none. And we can see here on the arrival, Ikoma is going to be at 3,500, but above. So there we go. Now what we want to do is we have to go ahead and check our flight plan out just to make sure that it is absolutely what we want to see. Now, let me check on these comments. Let me be good about this. Let me wipe my nose here. It's over here a little sweaty. All right, who we got going here? All right, I heard it's going to be the premiere of Fight or Flight. Is there a movie on this flight? Oh, for sure there's a movie on this flight. And there'll be lots of entertainment on here. We might even have a court jester come on, Dad, and start making some jokes. And I heard it's going to be the premiere Fight or Flight. That's right. That's right, Jeff. Too silly. That's what exactly what's going to be. Big shout out to my boy Jeff up there in the Hollister area, and Gabe and your guys' families. Just want to give y'all a shout out. Thanks for the support. Thanks for everybody showing up. Oh, Papa, ya tu sabe. There's going to be my Puerto Rican brother out of Florida is asking there's going to be food. You know, I don't know if you want tostones. I don't know if y'all want some holiday food, some turkey. I don't know, but we're going to have it all up on here. Trust you me. That's how we're going to get down. So anyway, Now here's what we're going to do, folks. We are most certainly going to be looking at this display, and this magenta line here, as you can see, is our route. But we need to make sure what we programmed in makes sense. Otherwise, we're going to be looking quite silly. Let me get a view here, because I'm going to have to touch some buttons here. Before I do that, we're going to come over here and go into the plan mode. So up here, this little situation up here controls our multifunction display over here. And in order to look at the distances and all that good stuff, we mess with the distances here, and we also mess with the orientation or the modality of the screen. Right now, we are on the map view, so we can most certainly check out our flight. So here you go. It's going to be the runway. Then leaving that runway, it's got us heading on the northbound heading of 337, I believe, because that's runway heading. And then we do a nice right turn onto our departure here, the Sakura 4. But we need to make sure that's fluid all the way to the route that we're trying to get to. So now we must do what we call stepping through the actual flight. I'm doing it down here. You can't see it, but that's so we can also see this. I'm sorry, guys. It has to be this way. Let me see if I can get you guys a different view of this. Just because I'm a nice guy, I'm gonna struggle my neck here and get you guys a better view. There we go. Now we have a much better view of this. Let's go ahead and step through it. As I hit this step button, it's essentially going to be moving through the points here to see where we're going. So we're stepping up, and so far it looks good. Oh, we got a nice little sharp turn there, but I still like it. Aircraft will be flying that because it'll be on autopilot. And as you can see, it's a northwestern route, so to speak. And there we go. And then it's going to stop here. It doesn't show the airport because I haven't put in the arrival information until we figure out what runway we are going to go to. And I'm not going to do that into the air because I've gotten into doing that before, and then all of a sudden air traffic control switches it up and you got to go back and rethink your whole strategy. And it's all about staying ahead of the aircraft, which sometimes even in the sim world is hard because we don't have a first officer. You're managing the radios, and my boy Brian and the chief sim pilot can definitely attest to this. Or there's this problem with the simulator, track IR, something's going on, so it gets a little hairy. We're not going to let that happen because we are too gangster for that today, and we're doing this together. So I don't know about you guys, but I like the way this looks so far. So let's proceed with our flight planning. So we're going to come back over here and keep it going. Now what we have to do is get the right information for our takeoff. So now we're essentially, I need to come back up here, of course, and get this situation back to our arc. And so that's looking good. Now we can come back down here and keep her going. So after our legs and our route, typically you're in this page when you're done filling your route out. You see, you're all done. Life is good. Then you have this performance initialization. Okay, you can also get here using this initial ref, which is our initialization reference, but we're going to use the performance initialization here. And this is where some of these figures from our trusty rusty dusty tablet come into play. So as you see, we're going to go back onto the ground services and I'm lying, we're going to come back over to weight and fuel balance. Now we're going to go for performance and takeoff. Now we're going to type in the runways, 34 left, maximum, we're not doing flaps 5, we'll do flaps 10, it's a long runway, conditions are dry, and the winds, of course, let's re-update the information. Okay, the winds switched a little bit. It's at 320, so a little bit of a change at 14 knots. So the wind direction, of course, is 320 degrees. I didn't like that, so let's type that in. Wind. Oh, I'm sorry, because I'm putting in the knots. See, shame on me, guys. The knots right now are at 14 knots. And now I don't. Oh, negative 14. How did that get in there? Let's see here. Let me slow my roll. 1-4, and it's still saying it's an error. So let's see here. Again, we're not going to belabor this too much. So let's just get out of that. Let's see. Make sure that your restrictions set are correctly. Sometimes the incorrect altitude and speed restrictions compare with the SID and STAR. So Brian, our pilot out of Florida, is making a very good point. Again, it's the sim world, and the FMC sometimes shows it automatically loads or fills in the restrictions on the standard instrument departure, or SID, or the standard terminal arrival, or STAR. So what he's saying is to go back and reference that with the actual departure or arrival with the FMC. So we're going to do that. Thank you for that little tidbit. So right now it's reporting the outside temperature is 15 degrees Celsius, and that is most certainly not accurate. Let's see here. So it's actually 6 degrees Celsius. Let's see if it takes that. There we go. QNH right now is 1020. So 1020. Booyah. I'm still a little perturbed by this wind. It is at 14 knots. I'm not quite sure why we're getting an error. So anyway, we're going to leave that out of there, and we're not going to worry about it. We're doing our due diligence, takeoff weight, pounds, and center of gravity. So now if we come back over to our performance and takeoff, oh, that's the wrong one. Let's come back over here to our payload. So it's also calculated our landing weight, and it's at the same center of gravity as the takeoff right now, simply because we haven't burned any fuel yet. So here's the takeoff weight is 24.14%, zero fuel weight, fuel's 15,000 pounds, payload, we have everything here. And try heading and speed on the winds example. Okay, all right, so that's why I love having help on board. So let's go back and figure out those winds. So we'll come back, performance, and this is more for landing. So you know what, we're not even going to put it in now because that's for the landing, but I am going to do that. I am going to put in the winds for that. So we're not going to, takeoff is what I wanted. So this is where we did it. Okay, I'm going to put that in now. So let me see his example here, and I've never even used this before. I usually do it in FMC, but I'm doing it for you guys because I'm a nice guy. So we'll put the heading and then the wind in. So the winds are, we said, at 320, and the wind speed is at 14. Let's try it. Oh my God. Hey, big shout out to you again, Brian over there, my fellow Boricua. Thank you very much for hooking that up. Now we need to put the takeoff weight and the center of gravity. We can do that. We know how to do that, of course. So our takeoff weight is 24.4, and actually that's the center of gravity. Our takeoff weight is 14,900. It's 149,000 pounds. I'm gonna need to write that down, folks, on the old rusty dusty paper here, because if we're doing it right, we're gonna do it right, baby. All right, 149,273, and the center of gravity is 24.2. All right, reading is fundamental. So takeoff weight is 149er and 273. Booyah, that's in there. And our takeoff center of gravity, of course, is 24.2. Enter. Now I believe we have populated everything else here that we need to. So now we can go back, and now we can start buttoning up the aircraft, folks, as we about to get up out of here. And everything is working good, so we can get rid of the fuel truck, or call it. We don't need to call it again. I guess it automatically extinguishes itself. I haven't flown the Zebo in a hot minute, so you guys will have to bear with me. So now we have all of that good stuff in there. Let's also go back to, let me go back here and go to doors. Let's start buttoning all the doors up. Let's close the forward entry, that and that, because I always forget to hey, and you guys should remind me, hit the chronometer. I always forget to hit the chronometer, which is basically our flying time timer, when I get to the base of the runway and enter the runway, so you guys can help me out with that. All right, folks, so now I think we're looking good. We'll double check all of that other departure stuff here in a second, what my boy Brian, the Cessna captain, was talking about. And so we're cooking with Crisco. Now let's check the Vatsim Scope and get our flight plan in, and then we can most certainly get up out of here. All right, moving this Vatsim Scope right up in here. I'm using Vatastic today, and as you can see, we have our airport, which we're at now. We've got some aircraft slightly in the area, but no air traffic control. So let's most certainly get our flight plan on, hooking and cooking. And that flight plan is going to go into here, and let's see here, boom, Let me delete the other. Well, actually, I'm gonna let you guys see what it looks like from the last flight. So let me bring this in. So here is our flight plan. This is from our last flight that we filed. We are not a heavy aircraft today, so we're gonna get rid of that and we're gonna delete all of this. Essentially, let me see if my paste is still there. Okay, so I just basically put in the route. Yeah, it gives me this notification. I don't know why. Here's our route today, which we already went over. We need to change our airports here. So we are departing from Narita. We are headed over to Osaka. And once again, let me double check the actual alternate, which is RJGG. Little tongue twister there. And it's RJGG. So the same airport that I used to go. The actual time right now is Zulu 0057. We are going to say our departure time is, we'll say it's going to be 0115. And flying time today is 1 hour and 11 minutes. And of course, how much fuel do we have available? Remember, I added that extra 1,000 pounds of fuel. So for us, that correct answer will be, see, before adding the fuel, we were at 2 hours and about 45 minutes. So we got about, we're just gonna round it up and say we've got 3 hours and 15 minutes of fuel. Our flight altitude today is going to be a nice robust 36,000 feet. So let's double check our flight plan. Narita, Osaka, alternate, departure time 0115 Zulu, time en route 1 hour and 11 minutes with 3 hours and 15 minutes of fuel on board. Cruising speed is which is the true airspeed, is right around 450. That's not going to be exact science. We might bump it up a notch if we can, or we might get some winds that slow us down. We are flying at flight level 360 or 36,000 feet. Boom. So let's go ahead and file that bad boy. All right, now that that is filed, we can continue to rock on here. So now we can get the APU on. All right, here, folks. So now we're going to get the APU on, which is the alternate power unit. So essentially, we're not going to turn on our anti-collision just yet until we get ready for pushback, which I've already planned. So essentially, we're going to come here and click that bad boy down. And while we're doing that, we are also going to need to put in here, and this is the pressurization panel, so that we do not get hypoxia when the air is too thin. So we are going to go right up to a ripe little altitude of 36,000 feet. And of course, I need to get the landing elevation at the arrival field, which that elevation there is 39 feet. So that goes to 50, or boom, we're going to leave it right at 0. So we'll definitely be pressurized down to 39 feet because we're pressurizing all the way down to 0. That will be in the auto mode. The APU will become available right between, I believe, the 4 and the 5, and you'll see this illuminate, and then we'll get that cracking.
Tokyo traffic, American 424, stab 8321, established on the ILS for 34 right. Tokyo
all right, and you can actively see there is a pilot here, so we are going to be making our callouts. Now we can essentially, what we're going to do when we put this down, it's going to transfer the power from the ground power, which we have indicating here, and it's going to transfer it to the APU. So let's go ahead and do that now. So now the power has been transferred to the ground power, which means we can get it off. So essentially this ground power shouldn't be reading anything, even though it does. We don't have anything, but if we go to the APU generator, now we're reading what we need to have on board. So now we need to open what's called our bleeds, and we also need to open our isolation valve for engine start. Actually, it was already open, so the isolation valve is open and the bleed is on. You can see some duct pressure going through, which we'll be using that hot air to start the aircraft. And then now, of course, we can also turn on all of our fuel pumps, and we will have our electric hydraulics turned on as well. So those were off. Now we can all go to on, and you'll see those illuminate. And we'll turn the rest of this on when the aircraft is on, and then we can also, we won't even get our probes on yet. We'll make sure the engine is hot and running, both engines. All right, now let's come back down to the lower pedestal, and well, let's finish this up really quick, then we'll get to the lower pedestal. And don't do this, don't try this, there is a checklist. I'm just doing flows so we can roll up out of here, but we'll go through the checklist and just make sure we're doing everything. Now for our center of gravity, I just need to click this OSB. The zero fuel weight is populated. Our reserves fuel, we're going to say we've got about 5,000 pounds of fuel on board. Our cost index is 45. And we are cruising at flight level 360. That's in there. That's all good. Let's execute that. Go to this takeoff. The outside temperature is now saying it's above 3, so I don't even have to mess with this unless I want to towards the end. Let's see here. If I put that there, let's see if I want to do that. Let me get the weather once again, just really quick. Thanks for your patience. All right, it's saying it's 6 degrees outside. So let me see if I can just hit 6 in here. Okay, invalid entry, so it's going to want me to put the slash and potentially, so we don't need the minus, it's automatically going to assume that it's 6, and let's switch it up. Booyah, so we got that right in there, and it's calculating what the engine needs to do as far as the temperature outside, because the hotter it is, the worse it is for the airplane. Cooler, it's better. The airplane can work, the engines can work better. We are not taking any derated takeoff, so we'll be taking off at full power, so no noise abatement, and we said we're taking off at flaps 10. And for that, that means the basically orientation of the extension of the wings and the slats so that the airplane can get more lift at a lower speed. What's up, Leonardo? Greetings from the Big Apple in NY. Thanks for joining us, my brother. And I hope you have some fun today. If I'm doing anything wrong or you got some tippers or you want to hit me up with something, let me know. All right, our center of gravity, we know what that was already because we had it in the other computer. We just simply transfer that over here. So why that's important, we're going to set our takeoff trims to 3.75, which is the elevator in the back of the aircraft, so that we can, when we rotate or pull back on the flight controls to 10 degrees pitch up, that the aircraft is actually going to lift off and we don't have a very short-lived stream here. Right now I'm confirming our V1 speed, which is our decision speed. Basically, once you get to this speed, you're going to take off. You need to make a decision whether you're going to activate the rejected takeoff or take off. VR, it's when we're pulling back on the flight controls, and then V2 is our safe climb out. Once that aircraft is pitched up, that speed is going to pick up and the lift is going to go over and under the wings, and aircraft is going to hopefully smoothly ascend based off of the pilot's work. Let's jump down to the lower pedestal and start working on our squawk code. Keep in mind, this is going to be completely fictional right now because on the Vatsim network, they require us to fly an IFR squawk to let them know that we are flying IFR, which they'll be able to see. In the real world, you would have air traffic control and they would assign you a beacon code. And we're going to go ahead and get this on now because we're going to get this better pushback situation happening. Let me turn
Tokyo traffic, American
comms 2 off.
424 is established on a 5-mile ILS for 34 right, Tokyo traffic.
Okay, and he is landing on 34 right, which makes sense. Let me just check the scope and make sure that we are going to stay good to go. All right. Okay, yeah, he's on the other side of the field. So we're good. We're 3-4 left, so he's landing over here, and we're taking off right here. All right. So we got that situated. Let's get our better pushback tug coming. So we're going to go to our little plug-in here, and we're going to start the pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
All right.
American traffic, American 424 321 type. It's on a short final runway 34 right.
Okay, roger that. Okay, this is Japan Airlines 318 on the ground. Have a safe landing, Captain. All right.
Thanks.
All right, so we just gave a little shout out, which I like to do. Now we're going to turn on our anti-collision light, which is that red beeping light outside, and let's go take a look at that because, guys, we're cooking with Crisco. Now check this out. You see the gate is moving back, so we can pan around. You can see the gate is retracting itself, and you can see that hot air coming out of that APU. Look at that heat blur. Hope you guys can see that. Which is pretty amazing. Now you see we have our red anti-collision light on. The gate is continuing to retract.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Alright, so they are connecting here. As you can see, let's get a different view and let's just see how they are working today. So let's slide up. Alright, here we go. So this is their work. here's the ground power unit, and here's what they're doing. So we'll get rid of that ground power unit. Sorry that was so loud. Let's jump back, get rid of that ground power unit, and GPU disconnect. We don't need that, otherwise we would have a horrible time. Okay, while they're doing that, folks, we are not done. We need to come here and get our flight directors on, which will be essentially our crosshairs right here on our primary flight display. We need to go for the left
and bypass pin
and the right.
Release parking brake.
All right, we'll release that here in a second. Now, essentially what I'm doing, I am bringing our climb altitude all the way up to our climbing or cruising altitude of 36,000 feet. And as we get pushed back, we'll check out the route and departure and make sure it's all good, because we'll have a little time to kill. Boom, boom, boom. And that's squared away. Boom, boom, boom. Now we need to get our QNH all set up before we forget. So I have to come here and switch that over to where it's going to report QNH. We said the QNH was 101.2. So where are we going to be putting that in, folks? We're going to be putting that in essentially right here. You can't see it because it's blocked, but here's our QNH right now is 101.3. Let's go ahead and see if we can give you a view. All right, I'm going to change that now to 101.2. We've got to go over to the first officer side, or your side as well, because you guys want to be compliant as well. And we're going to do the same thing. QNH is 101.3 here, but now we're going to put that to 101.2. And we're doing good, guys, and we'll do the rest as we're pushing back. Let's go ahead and release that parking brake. Parking brake is released.
Area traffic, American 424 is clear of runway 34 right, taxiing via Bravo to terminal 2, gate 85. Area traffic.
Let's see. We did push the brake. Let's do it again. We should be getting some type of pushback. Let's see what they're doing outside. Sometimes this thing acts funny. Let's see here. All right. Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll just do it manually. Come on. Better push back. Don't fail me now. I'm telling you guys, it's always something. Parking brake is released.
Starting pushback.
There we go.
Start engine.
You guys see it? They made me sweat on my nose. Can you believe that? All right. All right. We are essentially pushing back now. All right. Let us go ahead and okay. We are pushing back. We always want to look left and look right. Okay, there's a FedEx guy over here on the other side. Even though we can't see him, we see his tag through there. So we're going to be looking out for aircraft. We also have to get our taxi figured out. So while we're pushing back, let's do that. All right. Okay, as you can see here, the aircraft is pushing back, nose forward. We have a pretty simple taxi, guys. We can essentially come straight here to Whiskey 5 and then pick up Alpha. Otherwise, we could take Romeo, but you got this crossway here. So the best thing to do is we're going to take Whiskey 5. Let me write this down so I don't forget. Whiskey 5. And then we're just going to take Alpha all the way down to Alpha 10. So it's going to be Whiskey 5. Can't read my own chicken scratch here. Alpha 10. So essentially, we're going to come out here, Huck Boogie left. We're going to pick up Whiskey 5 or Whiskey 6, whichever one I see. Then we're going to take Alpha all the way down to Alpha 10. And then we're taking off and we're going to make our money. Let's go ahead and look at the star based off of the Cessna captain's recommendation. So what that means is this is our star. So once we start making our turns,
complete. Set parking brake.
all right, let's set the parking brake, folks. Let's make sure we do this right. I'm gonna do a manual with this. Booyah. So they should be disconnecting the tow. All right, perfect. All right, so anyway, let's bring our rusty dusty chart back in, then we'll get the engine started. So we can see here leaving the runway, let's see, did I pick, oh, you know what, I'm on the wrong thing here, folks, and I believe RJA, I'm on the right airport, just on the wrong situation. Sakura 4, I'm like, that doesn't look right. Okay, here we go. Now here is the departure. Here we are at the airport. We are most certainly going to take off on runway 35 or 34, excuse me. So we're coming off here heading 337. Then we're going to hook boogie around and get back on to the departure. This is also going to be some write-ups here. So from 34 left, climb via NRE 337, which is our heading, and this is a VOR. This is the Narita VOR for the radio 337, which is basically runway heading. Then a right turn to 100 until crossing NRE, and then right turn heading 160 to intercept and proceed on course, essentially, which is what we're going to do. So here's the 100 turn, back on, boom, and then to course. Let's also take a look at those waypoints. I got to get this out of the way so that I can see as well. So now we're going to disconnect. Let's jump down here and look at those waypoints. All right, so above 3,000 at NRE. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that looks good. Then we need above 4,000 at NRE DME 36. That looks good. And then we've got the intersection. Let's move down.
Bypass then has been removed.
Tetra above 12,000.
Have a safe flight.
The Hotel Mike Echo VOR will be at flight level 200 above. Yep, that's it. So it looks good. It looks good. So what we're going to do now, we're going to keep this on initial ref so that we know what we're doing, and then we're going to get the your side squared away so that we can most certainly have our legs in there in case we want to do direct or something. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm making the first officer's FMC reflect the legs, and then we'll also have ours on the performance speeds, and then your side, of course, we want to zoom that in a little bit so in case there's anything, I will leave it at 10 nautical miles so that we can see what's happening. Now what we need to do, that first initial heading leaving the runway they said was 337, so what we're going to do is we're going to also put our course to 337. And we're also going to get our heading to 337 as well. I could have went the other way, would have been quicker, but that's okay. All right. 337, that's looking good. Let's get this guy's course indicator where it needs to be. All right. All right, 337, everything is up top, looking good. I like what we're doing. I like the food that we're cooking. Let's go ahead, folks, and get that engine started. So we are back with the parking brake. We had our hand signal, might have been received on the left, but he already booked, which is okay with us. And essentially, everything here is good to go. So let's go up top now and get our ignitions on. So we are going to put the right to ground, and we should see some movement here on the N2 fan, which we do. Now let's come over here. If we really want to do the right thing, which we should have been doing the whole way, we'll get onto our checklist and procedures. We're going to go pushback. We did transponder as needed. We're good. Parking brake, and after pushback, hydraulic pumps were already on. Now let me come over here because I feel like we've already gotten to add the fuel in at 25%. We're doing that. Trying to multitask here, which you guys should never do that. Back here, engine start, the pack switches are off, which we did that. Start sequence was announced, and our engine start was on ground. We verified that it went to 25% on the N2. Engine start level is at idle. Now we are essentially going to wait for this switch to move into the auto. And then I'm just going to throw that right into continuous because that's going to be our next step. So engine number 2, or the right side, is started. Now we are going to start the left side. So we'll come down here and monitor our N2 fan until 25%. You can see our fuel flow. Everything is going on there. All right. And we're at 15 and climbing. So let's go ahead and get ready to introduce our fuel. 4 and 5. All right. Fuel is being introduced here. And now you can see that engine really coming up. While that engine is continuing to come up, before we activate our everything up top, we need to put this in what's called the rejected takeoff, meaning if we decide to brake and abort the takeoff, the brakes will automatically deploy and it will handle our auto braking system. Our flaps, we are taking off at flap 10, so let's make sure we get those flaps down to flaps 10. We'll check the lever and make sure that's indicating. I heard the audible pop up top, so let's go ahead and get our ignitions into the continuous now, and now what we're going to do is we are connecting the left and right generator. We're basically nullifying the APU. You're going to see us start cooling down. We are also going to turn off the APU bleed. We need to close this isolation valve to auto so the duct pressure balances out, and now we essentially need to turn our packs on to auto, and now you can hear that coming up. Now we need to come up even further and verify our trim air is on. Okay, so this panel is looking good. We got duct pressure, packs are set to auto, and everything is, our bleeds are on. Back up top now, we need to turn our window heat on. I know it's a lot to do, folks, but you guys signed up for this today. Me too, so we got to get through this. Trust me, our turnaround won't be this bad. Okay, now we have everything up top. Can we agree? Let's check it together from left to right. All right, left panel over here, yaw dampers on. Nothing is illuminated or giving us any cause for concern. Moving over to this panel here, we're just doing a general flow. Generator 1 is giving us a 54.5 amps. DC volts is at 29, and the right generator is also echoing the same. Our window heat panel's all on. Our probes or our pitot heats, they are on, so the aircraft can receive the right information for the avionics. We have all of our cab forward and aft to where it is set to auto with our trim airs on, and we've got the air temperature set. Coming down over here to our pressurization panel, we look good. Bleeds are on, fans are on, isolation valve is closed, APU bleed is off. Coming a little bit further down, we have set our flight level to 360, and our landing our elevation is 27 or 37, one of the two, but either way it's below 50, so we are at 0 here, and this is on auto. Let's go ahead and give our flight attendants a little call there, and we need to get everything to auto. Let's see, get that back to auto, and we get our chimes to auto as well. Let's give a little ring here, and let's just make them happy. All right, this panel is looking good. The only thing giving us notification here is we do need to turn the APU off, which it is cooling down. Booyah! And that is all good done. Moving to our flow back over here, the fuel pumps are on. We don't have any alerts stating there's fuel in the fuel center fuel tanks, but if there is, we'll take care of that. Back up underneath to the navigation panel, IRS's, everything looks good here. Our displays are to auto, and the control panel is both on, or it's actually to normal. So I think we look good up top. Let's go back down and check that we do not have any fuel in the center tank, which we absolutely do not. Okay, Narita traffic, Japan Airlines 318, departing the ramp via Whiskey 5 Alpha 10 to runway 34 left for departure on the Sakura for climbing unrestricted up to flight level 360 for Narita traffic. Alright, so we did a bit of a lengthy call. Let's double check those flaps are set and indicating. They are indicating 10, and also we need to come over here and you can see the indicator is physically in the 10 spot, so we are good there. Now we need to come over here and just double check that we have our aircraft. In case we do flight level change, we want to make sure we don't overspeed the flaps. Coming here, flaps 10, we cannot exceed 210 knots, so we're going to get ourselves in trouble. So let's go ahead and give it what it wants. Let's do 210, even though it'll probably, if I do a flight level climb before I do VNAV, which is our vertical navigation, and we're going to do it right about 195. I don't like to go too close to the limits. Alright folks, I think we can most certainly get out of here. What do you guys think? Let me stop and look at the chat really quick. Everybody's looking good. Thank you guys for hanging in there, and it's time to roll. And sorry it's hot in here, and thank you Dad. I'm a sweater on the nose. I'm assuming I got it from the Sanchez side of the family, so no worries there. It's all love. Okay, let's go ahead and look left and look right. Obviously nothing over here, and let's go ahead and release that parking brake. Parking brake is released. Alright. Okay, while we're easing up slightly, I'm gonna reset my joystick. I fly with the Logitech or Saytech X52 Professional, and the drivers, I always update them, but it always seems to do something funny and X-plane. Anybody else out there have any problems with their flight controls? It's a simmer, let me know, and then let me know which ones you're using, and maybe Santa Claus or my birthday's coming up, they will bring me something special. Alright, so we're just going to take this little eye lead here. Again, thank you guys for taking the time to get the aircraft up and running. Thanks for all of the help, everyone. I think this is going to be a good flight. All right, so I need to get my top screen over to the taxi route. So don't try this at home, folks. All right, a little bit of multitasking there. Never hurt anybody. So it looks like we are going to be getting that Whiskey 5.
And that is 212.
And now that's one thing I do need to be mindful of, is that here in Asia and Europe, the pushback and start procedures aren't the same as they are in the United States. So if there was ATC, I would have even had to request pushback and start. And went from there. Okay, let's see here. Let's slow it up a little bit. All right, we are getting ready to cross. What is this here? That's Bravo. We got one more taxiway to get to. Don't want to get too excited here. And I believe we'll just take off LNAV and VNAV. All right, and we are coming up here to Alpha. Again, I didn't do the entire checklist, so shame on me, but I just didn't want to keep dragging it out. All right, then we're going to be going to Alpha 10. Again, you guys, you got to make sure I hit my chronometer. That's your job. Remind me. Be like, Dre, motivated sim pilot, short guy, whatever you want to call me. Tell me to hit that chronometer, folks. It's right here. It's too easy. All right, moving right along, folks. All right, let's see here. The Cessna captain says we should definitely get the Thrustmaster Airbus joysticks and throttle for $159. That's not bad. I might do that. Santa Claus, wife, somebody out there. Thrustmaster combo. Get with the Cessna captain. He can send you the info. All right, cruising right along. We've got a bit of a taxi here. Let's go out and look at what we look at. Again, don't try this at home, folks. This is not recommended if you are an actual pilot. But that's what we look like right now going down the old taxiway. You know, don't try this at home. Again, this is, you know, something a trained sim pilots. You got a FedEx guy over here. Something a trained sim pilot can do. But that's what we look like. All right, let's get back to reality here. And then, of course, we get to the base of the runway. We're going to go for a sterile cockpit. All right, here we go. All right, once again, thanks everybody for joining me on this flight, Japan Airlines 318 with service to Osaka. And honestly speaking, I don't know much about Japan. I try to do a little research. This airport scenery isn't the default. You can go to the X-Plane forums and to the scenery and download this for free. So thank you for that, and it's pretty much the only standard or mostly utilized scenery that's on there. It's the main one, the most downloaded. I want to give credit to the person who did it. I just can't remember his name or get there right now, so thank you. All credit to you. Continuing our taxi here. Let me make sure my flight controls are where they need to be, or we won't be taking off at all. All right. Make sure we look good on camera, baby. Okie dokie. Cruising right along. Getting ready for takeoff. We will be establishing, when I say we, it's more me. We'll be establishing a schedule for our streams, and most certainly I'll do a little thumbnail and let you guys know a stream is upcoming. So hopefully that'll work. In the air, we made, you know, you guys can go use the restroom and all that good stuff. I may go use the restroom if we're flying, but I'll give you guys a notification when I leave the cockpit for a minute or two and come back. Shouldn't be much time doing that. That way we can chat it up here on the live stream. All right, any of my so I can give you guys a shout out. Anybody of my streamers or sim pilots have a stream coming up soon, I can put you a shout out. Chief Sim Pilot or anybody else on the stream, Cessna Captain. All right, we are working our way. This one coming up is Alpha 9, then it'll be Alpha 10, and then we'll get out of here. Narita traffic, Japan Airlines 318 is on Alpha, getting ready to turn on Alpha 10 for base of runway 34 left with immediate departure on the Sakura 4 for Narita traffic. Alright, here comes Alpha 10. Let's slow it up a little bit. Alright, so we can do what we need to do. One thing we did forget to do is we forgot to turn on our taxi light and our turn off lights, but they're on now. We're gonna get everything on right now. Get our strobes on, and also let's get our wing light, because that's gonna activate the flight attendants. All right, flight attendants do have seats for departure.
Noting to Turkey, FedEx 25, taxi to 1834 left by Whiskey 3, Alpha, then Alpha 10, FedEx 25.
And you guys can hear another aircraft is getting ready to depart. So we have our lights on and everything, so we don't need to belabor the situation here. All right. You always want to look to final, make sure there's no aircraft out there that hasn't made any announcement. And we are coming up. Let me give you guys another little quick view of what we look like. All right, you can see we have our landing lights on. Looking good. See, our strobes are on. Alright. Enough of that fun stuff. Now, one thing, as we're turning onto the runway, we're going to get our auto throttles turned on. Alright, there we go. Straighten ourselves up. Alright, and here we go, folks. Takeoff power is being set. Alright. Alright, stereo cockpit, of course. Get about on 97. We don't want to overspeed the engine.
80 knots.
80 knots. Airspeed is alive. Okay, coming up on V1.
V1, rotate.
Rotate. Nice and smooth off the deck.
Positive rate.
We do have positive rate. Gear is coming up. Or should be. Alright.
400.
We got something going on here with the gear. Let's manually do it. Alright. Gear is now coming up. Now we can definitely go into autopilot pretty quick.
1000.
Just because I was struggling there for a second, the landing gear didn't want to come up. Now we're on a VNAV. Let's go flaps up to 5. We're going to do that pretty quick. And we're going flaps 1. Narita traffic, Japan Airlines 318 has departed runway 34 left, climbing via Sakura 4, up unrestricted up to flight level 360. Alright, folks, not a bad takeoff. As you can see, it's always something. Thank you, brother. You have a safe flight as well. Alright.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, sir, and happy holidays. Alright.
Happy holidays, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Alright, now we can go flaps up as indicated here. And you can see the aircraft's doing a great job of flying the departure. We're right on course. And those flaps are all the way up. Let's swing back over. Indicated landing gear is up. Now technically I don't want to mess with this just in case it happens, but we should be going all the way to the off position here. Let's go nice and slow. There we go. Whew! The last thing I need is that problem after we spent so much time. And you know what? I forgot the chronometer. Let's get that going. Again, I got the chronometer. Smooth rollout. Thanks, Chief Sim Pilot. He didn't get my peanuts. You'll get them. Chrono flight. Sorry, I missed it, Chief Sim Pilot. You the man. You let me know about it, but I should have looked. So again, thank you for reminding me that, Cessna Captain. I'm so happy and proud of you for continuing your dream of becoming a pilot. So you keep that up, so one day you can come pick me up. Thank you, honey. Your favorite part was the takeoff. That's my most stressful part, takeoff and landing, as any sim pilot will know. And there we go. So I said we were climbing unrestricted up, but we'll just go ahead and let the aircraft do the standard instant departure, which it's doing right now. That's why you hear it kind of piping down. And we'll just let the aircraft do that. What a beautiful day to fly, folks. Look at that scenery here over Narita, Japan. We're getting a little bit of turbulence here, which is no big deal. All right. She's continuing to straighten up there. Let's increase our range. And we'll get some music back on here in a second. Let's just make sure the aircraft is doing what it needs to do so that we don't have any problems. All right. As we make that turn, I'll just keep the track IR like that so you get a nice little view of what we're doing. And what we got here. Here we go. That's right. Here we go, hon. Smooth rollout again. Thanks, Chief Sim Pilot. And Dad, you will be getting your peanuts soon. Trust me. We got plenty of peanuts up on this piece. All right. Let's just go down here and make sure our GPS looks good. Now we can, and you can see here some information right now. So this is the 7,000 and below requirement at this, the DME 0 at the NRE, or it's saying 0, there's probably more to it, but at the NRE VOR. So the aircraft is doing its job, of course. Just kind of straighten up. I'm going to be interested to see what it does here on this super sharp turn back. Good thing it's doing it and not me. Even though I wouldn't mind doing it. I did a lot of hand flying the other day. If you check out my video on Hawaii, I had to do a lot of hand flying in the Twin Otter. Alright, so let's check out what you guys are doing on the first officer side. If you decided to take on the first officer's hat. We're skirting right above these clouds here, doing a little bit of Charmin cloud surfing. And there's a nice little break in the clouds there, which if you guys see on the route, we should be going right in this little break right through it. So we should get some good scenery going on here. There's the Pacific Ocean. All right, what do you guys say before we jump in the back? What do you say we get some more music crack-a-lackin'? Let's pick it up right where we left off. All right. Let me see. We might need to turn that volume up a little bit. Sorry about that. Switching back and forth. And you guys let me know if that's loud enough. Does the Zebo have TCAS? Yes, it does, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see, TARA, and we should, yeah, it does have TCAS, and it should say up here on the flight display here. So traffic is on, so it does have TCAS, and they will be reported right here in the TCAS. It's on, but we don't have any aircraft in range. So to answer your question, yes, it does, and it is on.
Gentlemen, as we climb to our cruise altitude, for your safety, it's important to remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened. Anytime
all right,
seatbelt sign
we can go with our lights off now.
Even if the sign is off, please keep your seatbelt fastened.
We are above 10,000 feet.
Unexpected rough air. Also remember to use caution
Can
when
put
opening
our
overhead bins, as items may have shifted during the flight.
There we are.
We've now reached an altitude where it is
All right.
approved electronic devices. Please be reminded that further regulations prohibit the use of cellular network services during the flight. After the meal service, duty-free sales will begin. The catalogator seat pocket describes the merchandise available today. We accept
Listen to our flight announcements.
US dollars and other currencies for duty-free purchases.
This is whoever's sitting on the right side.
Due to security regulations, we'd like to remind you about restrictions to carry on baggage containing liquids, gels, or creams.
All right, we're making our nice little turn here. You can hear a little chit-chatting in the back here. All right, all right. We are looking good. Making our nice little turn here. All right, let's go ahead and jump back up into the cabin, or into the cockpit, I should say. And now we have the transition altimeter, or transition altitude here is 14,000 feet, so we most certainly need to put our altimeters into the standard. We need to do the same for your side if you've chosen the first officer route. Now look at what the aircraft did on that super sharp turn. Remember, I was interested to see what was going to happen. Boy, it seemed like it kind of went off course a little bit to get to that, so that's amazing that that turn was even designed that way. So we are rolling. All right, so let's straighten you guys out for a second. I'm gonna take 2 seconds here and get down here into the checklist here just to make sure we did what we didn't do on the checklist. Wow, look how much the aircraft is kind of off course trying to balance where we are going because it didn't get that sharp turn. So now it says we are direct NRE, which is right here, so I'm assuming once it gets to this line we're gonna go left. But that was a pretty harsh turn, and again, I was curious to see what it was gonna do. So there you go. All right, there we go. Wait, which cent? Oh, there's a couple. Yeah, so I have my dad, and I don't know if my brother is watching there, Cessna Captain, or if it's the same person or not. So dad and big bro, hello. Cessna Captain saying there's a few different Sanchez's on there. Of course. Wait, which Sanchez? I love it. Yeah, we're all Sanchez's. My boy Equal out in Florida is a Sanchez. And here you go. My wife's adding me some stuff in here. Oh, thank you, honey. Thank you. Thank you. It's my wife saying that I'm sexy. But you know what, Cessna Captain? You're sexy too. We're all sexy beings here. God's creatures. You can see the aircraft is making that controlled turn on course. And we're going to continue to climb here. Now, once we get into, let's give you guys a little view here what's going on. Once we get into the climb phase, or the cruise phase, I should say, we're going to sit back, relax. We're going to do our planning first before our actual, we sit back and relax for cruise. That way, once we get closer to the field, because this is not a long flight by any means, we can most certainly be prepared and stay ahead of the aircraft. So that's what we're going to do. So in the meantime, we'll just monitor ourselves. If you guys need to get up by now and go use the restroom or something, you can do so, but get back to your seats and fasten up. If you leave the stream, I'll give you the top of descent. So if you want to leave the stream and come back, I'll tell you when we're going to be descending to land. That way everybody can take a little break, since this is such a committed time slot. All right, we are doing good. Yeah, there we go. All right. Love the support from my wife. Love the support from you guys. Appreciate it. Keep it up. Okay, aircraft looks like it's doing good. Let's go and finish all of the things that we didn't do. Hopefully we did this so we'd still be on the ground. There's a page 2 to this as well. Engine cutout announced, all good. Start the other engine. So we'll go back now. We're simply gonna go over to the climb and cruise. Passenger signs were good. At transition altitude, we did set the altimeters to the standard QNH. And we cross-checked it with the first officers. We still need to do our standby. We'll get that taken care of. Actually, let's do that now. So we also have a standby right here, which needs to be set as well. You can see here it says 299er, but we can switch that over, and it's in the standard now. So you see 299.2 is standard, and this is the standard QNH here, 101.3. So now that's done as well. So we can come back over here and pat ourselves on the back for doing that. And the all the information for the arrival, we got that situated. And then we're going to go into descent and approach. So the cruise is looking good. It's only 1 page. Pat ourselves on the back again. We got about 10,000 to go until we are at our final cruise. And let's go down really quick and make sure what our aircraft is going to do as far as speed once we're up to flight level 360. So we'll be cruising today at Mach 0.782, and you can see we only got about 115 nautical miles cruising at flight level 360. That's going to go quick, and then we start our descent into the area. So we are most certainly going to want to start planning as soon as possible, which we may just go ahead and do now before we get into a cruise and have a bathroom break. Alright, getting a little turbulence. Let's see if I can set you guys up a little higher. That way you can see what's going on. I forgot to do the GoPro view here for you guys, so I'm sorry about that. You guys see that plane rocking around? We ain't playing out here. We are not playing. Alright, brother. Thanks for joining, Cessna Captain. We'll talk to you later, brother. Keep it up. And if you come back later today, we'll hopefully be getting some landing. Otherwise, it'll be on YouTube. And we're going to keep rolling here. So, to stay ahead of the aircraft, because we've got lots of planning to do, we also have to plan for our next flight. Let me go ahead and check on the weather at the field we're going to. Let's get a little music update there. Boom. Okay. And somebody, whoever's watching, give me a thumbs up so you can hear the music good. Do I need to mix the music up louder? You can let me know. Or is the music just fine where you can hear me in the aircraft? So, I don't mind you guys giving me a little feedback. We're going to browse by the airport. Again, we are going to Romeo, Juliet, Oscar, Oscar. Osaka International in Itami, Hyogo. So the city must be Itami and the state is Hyogo. I don't even remotely think I'm saying that right. Alright, the winds are variable, but before they were variable, they were out of the north, and they're only variable at 1 knot. So we can definitely do a full flaps landing to get the best speed. And as far as the field is concerned, let me go type that in on my old rusty dusty Navigraph. Alright, and then once we get up to cruising altitude, I will be able to tell you exactly when we're going to start descending, if that's what you're interested in. Right now what I'm doing is I am looking up top, and I'll bring this in for you guys, not to be rude. So if it is up to me, which in this case fortunately it is with your help, we're going to be landing on runway 32 left, okay, is what we're going to be doing based off of the winds. Even though they're variable right now at 1 knot, the apron is really easy to come in here for this airport. So not a huge airport. So very simple for us to get there, get a quick turnaround and taxi. Very simple. 2 parallel runways, one significantly smaller. So primarily all of your turbine jet aircraft are probably coming on this one here, and your props are maybe coming on here, and some other regional aircraft can use this runway, I'm sure. I just don't know which one. So we're going to plan for 32 left. Now our star is the this one, Icoma East, or Icoma. So if we are landing north, this is what we need to do in order to get to the field. So let's take a look here. All right, and we should be coming from this direction. Let me check my rusty dusty flight plan to make sure I'm not misleading anybody, including myself. That wouldn't be good. Okay, so Kodai. So I was right. So we're coming here through Kodai. Then we're going to get to here to Abino. And then from Abino, if we're landing north, that's straight in, folks. Which you can also see that. So, man, this first leg is going to be sweet. You can also use Navigraph and look at, we'll say we're going to do the ILS 32 left. And then it doesn't even, there's no transitions essentially. It's RNAV. Let me see if I click this, if it gives me, let me see what just happened there. Approaches. Okay, we're selecting that one. Let's show the waypoints. Now, look how sweet this is. Here's Kodai. And then our first initial approach fix is right here, Ikoma. So, man, once we get
1,000 to go.
to on this track here from Kowa on airway Yankee 546, I'm gonna put the aircraft into the heading mode, and we'll get the arrival programmed in. So I'm liking that. And then of course we'll look on the approach for ILS 32 left. Let's go ahead and stay ahead of the aircraft. Let's program all of our coordinates in, and we may do a visual, but I like the IFR piece for a great reference. So for whoever's watching, if you guys have any updates in your life or you want to share something on the stream, let me know. We got about 200 feet to go until we are at climb. In the meantime, let's put 110.11 into our nav while we're thinking about it. Alright, so this is the ILS down here, so let's do that. 11010. Boom, now we got our ILS put in there. Let's do the same thing for this side. 110. Man, that old man memory kicking in. Alright, short-term memory shot. 110.10, 110.10. And the course heading is 322. Booyah! So we just staying. Oh my goodness, would you guys look at that scenery right there? That is awesome. That is a beautiful site. It looks like this is a volcano even. There are volcanoes in Japan, I'm sure. Like Mount Fuji and all that. So I'm not sure what this terrain is here, but it's gorgeous. You can see my weather is updating. Alright guys, so as promised, we are cruising at Mach 7.8. And we are good to go, folks. We're going to come down here and look at the progress. So if you guys want to step away and come back from the landing, we'll be landing at 2:05. Well, we're descending at 2:05, so that gives you roughly 15 minutes to do whatever you need to do. Back in 15 minutes, we will be descending. We only have 117 nautical miles to go to descend. So again, these flights are happening real quick. If you guys need to step away, you do have 14 minutes if you want to walk away and come back until we start descending. Usually when I start descending, we'll be on the ground within 20-25 minutes. Hopefully that's the case here. In the meantime, you guys do what you need to do, or hang out on the stream, whatever your choice is. But I'm going to continue to get stuff ready so then I can take a small little quick break. Alright, you always want to square up your heading. So I just did that. And now we are, first of all, going to switch the music. And now I'm going to plan our next flight really quick in sim brief. Alright, so we're doing good. We are doing good. I hope everybody is enjoying the ride so far. Let me look at my notes here. Okay, so the next airport, which is Fukuoka, is RJFF. So we'll cruise really quick. And you know what? Let's go and cruise on your side, because we have a better view, and we'll do our planning over here. Let me get to a new tab of sim brief. And we're gonna do dispatch system. All right, let's bring it down. Let me make it slightly smaller. Anyway, we're going to create a new flight. And sorry guys, it's going to take out some of your scenery there, but let's see if we can get that a little smaller for you guys. All right. Anyway, you want to come here to the dispatch system. We are going to continue our flight number 318. We are going from RJOO to RJFF. Then, of course, we're going to be flying our Boeing 738-800. We're going to keep the same cost index, so we'll choose cost index 45. And let me see if it gives us a pre-route. So this route is primarily heading this way, so we're still going to file the same altitude. It's only 332, so we might not even go that high. That's not even an hour of flying. So you know what? We are just going to do flight level 300 because that's a very short flight. Alright, so let's get the altitude programmed in there. I was like, why can't I see it? It's over here. Alright, so we're going to do 32,000 feet. And of course, you guys know I always like an extra 1,000 pounds of fuel. Just to keep me happy, we'll go with the first route. We see it is valid for the current AirAC 2013 route distance 332 nautical miles. Alright, I love it. You guys are planning with me. So let's create our operational flight plan. Booyah! Booyah! Alright, thank you, honey. It is a beautiful view, right? I love it. Alright, so now we've got, and then the flying time is 1 hour and 23 minutes, cruising at 32,000 feet. Their RICPAC or RKPK, which we'll find out where that's at, which is off here. So man, that's a alternate like nobody's else. We come right across the pond to go to the alternate. So that ought to be interesting. Let's look at the fuel we'll need. Alright, 8,440 pounds of fuel. So it looks like we're going to be a little heavier for the next flight, believe it or not. Alright, scroll up top. And there's how you spell it, Fukuoka. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's how you say it. Or there it is. There's our cost index. There's the winds aloft. Right here, it's going to be at coming out of the west at 146 knots. So we don't have any step climbs. We go right up to flight level 320. And of course, this is the route. So that's our SID, or standard instrument departure. Then we go to a VOR. From the VOR, we're on an airway, and then we exit it with this fix, and then on to the arrival there. So that's looking pretty easy, guys. So far our landing is going to be simple. Well, not simple, don't get me wrong, there's always mistakes that can happen. We got to check the winds and make sure we're lined up and get the aircraft all situated, but other than that, it should be nothing cause for concern. Now we can most certainly come down to the bottom, check on our actual descent time, 93 knots. I told you it's going to go quick, and then we're getting there. Zulu time 0207 Zulu. So if you have you're on Google, you're on your computer, just Google current Zulu time, you'll see it. Right now, according to me, that is calculating out to about 12 minutes, because it's currently 0155 Zulu. So that's going to give us a little break here. So what we'll do, folks, so that everyone can get a nice little break, we are most certainly going to go to the back. Let's check the aircraft, make sure there's nothing else that we need to do. Just doing these nice little flows. There's no air traffic control. We are rolling. Let's go ahead and get this out so you can see our top of descent after we turn and hit Gaki. Right after Gaki and Koha, between there is our TD. And let me get a little closer to that. There's TD. Alright, now we can most certainly go to the back. Let's see which side is more scenic. Definitely this side. So we are going to leave this here. Or actually, we should leave it on your side over here. I'm gonna leave you guys in charge. Give you guys a nice little view right here, like that. And we're gonna keep it rolling. All right, and we will be seeing you guys shortly. I am the Motivated Sim Pilot, your captain in charge. Thank you for allowing me to be in charge today. Thank you for joining me. Your time is valuable. Time is money. Health is wealth, as we know during this current pandemic. So again, I don't take your subscribership or your support for granted. I do want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for riding along. We're going to take about a 5 to 8 minute step away from the cockpit. You're going to be in charge, but then we will be back right here getting our aircraft all situated. So I'm just going to leave you guys kind of with this canted view so you can see the front and also some scenery, even though we're getting ready to go over clouds, so it might not be too fun for you guys to see. Let's check the wing views out over here and just see if we'll stay with this view for right now, and I shall return momentarily. So you guys go take your breaks, get something to drink, get ready for landing. I'm gonna need your help to get this bad boy on the ground, okay? All right, bounce your head to the music. Again, for those joining the stream, we will be descending in approximately 9 minutes. 9 minutes will be descent. We'll be back in the cockpit. Again, thanks for joining the stream, and enjoy. Alright, sorry I had the microphone off there. We are getting ready to descend here. Just needed to fix up my little seating position here. Alright. So in order to descend, the main thing we need to do is get this down to the bottom altitude. The aircraft, because we're on V navigation or vertical navigation, is automatically going to descend itself. So let's look down here and see what those points are. We see here we got top of descent 37 nautical miles. The winds must have slowed us down, so it added a few minutes, but that's okay. That gives us a little bit of chance to see what's going on. Let's see here. So our bottom is above 3,500 feet. Again, once we get direct to Kodai from Kawa, this will put us on this heading here. I'll put it in and we'll get the runway information all planned in and double check the winds and things of that nature. So we are still good there. So for the meantime, again, just to go back, we're going to put 3,500 in there so the aircraft can do what it needs to do down to 3,500 feet. So let's elevate that, or not elevate that, but de-elevate that, or bring that on down to 3,500 feet. You see we got that programmed. Don't forget, prior to us heading to the break, we got everything ready for our ILS in case we decide to use it. Again, I'm squaring up the heading right now, that way we can remain on course. And let's get our display backed out a little bit. Now we'll come back out. That heading looks good, and actually the aircraft is yawing slightly. You can see it's slightly off course because we're getting winds about 4-degree variance. So let me show you what I'm talking about. And this is one thing that you got to know, that these winds treat us rough. So you can see here the winds are at 276 knots, so basically due west at 192 knots. So 276 degrees, 192. We are traveling heading 271. So there is an offset of about 5 degrees. So the aircraft sometimes has to do a little yaw in order to stay on path, because the wind. It's not. I mean, the winds are blowing. Good thing almost off the nose. That's what slowed us down, was these winds. So for all of those that aren't familiar with oh, we got silent. Wow, it got silent here. Oh, you came back, Cessna Captain. Thank you for that. Yes, it was turbulent. But anyway, so that you can know, we have to know as pilots, there are 3 different speeds that we must know pretty much at all times. So first one that you see here, which we refer to our speed in the aircraft, this is what we call IAS, or indicated airspeed. This is the airspeed that we reference for V1, V rotate, V2. There's a bunch of other V's in there, like climb out with flaps clean, a V speed to make sure the landing gear is not extending, or its extension speed or retraction speed limits, all that stuff. This is what we're going to reference here on the indicated airspeed. Or if air traffic control has this in a pattern or needs to slow us down or speed us up, what's essentially going to happen is they're going to tell us what is our Mach speed, which is right here right now, or what is our indicated airspeed in knots. It's right here. Okay. And of course down here is representing that we have the aircraft to set itself to 0.782 Mach based off of our cost index. The next airspeed that's really good to know is this GS, or ground speed. Right now we're traveling over the ground technically at 257 knots, which if you want to get that into miles, you're going to take a formula, take the knots 257 and multiply it by 1.150. That'll give you what it is in miles per hour. So it's not a big variance, but there is a slight variance. And this speed is how fast we're traveling over the ground. You have to remember, we're 36,000 feet in the air. The Earth is curved. So that means that we're technically traveling at different speeds throughout the atmosphere and all that good stuff. But as far as the ground is concerned, we are doing a ground speed of 257 knots. Finally, the true airspeed, which is actually where we're at right now. The pitot tubes outside of the aircraft are allowing air to blast in there, which sends messages to our avionics about how fast we're going currently, given the winds, the speeds, everything right where we're at this elevation. That is the true airspeed. Again, the most referenced one is going to be the indicated airspeed. However, it gives you a good reference of what the winds are doing to us with the ground speed, okay, and the rest of these speeds. And as you can see, we were supposed to start descending at 0207 Zulu. Now we're not descending until 0214 Zulu. So it slowed us down about 7 knots on its initial calculations. So there you go. So we're still doing good. We're about to start descending here shortly. All right, you can see we've roughly been in the sky, let's say 42 minutes. I did forget to put it on there, but you can see we've been in the sky about 40 minutes so far. And then we are going to start our descent. And essentially, once we get to, let's double check, once we get to Kawa, we can basically start going direct to Kodai. Let's see, Abino and Ikama. Those other points are essentially if we decide to go ahead and do a different runway, but Kodai should be basically the last one there that we need to worry about before we get our initial approach fixed, since we are landing north. Okay. All right. So let me double check the arrival, and then we'll update the weather. And we're coming up on top of descent pretty quick here. Okay, I'm sorry. So from Kodai, Mirai, and Abino, we still are going to be hitting these waypoints. So let's see what the DME is. So 10.3 nautical miles. So we'll have, even if we get direct Kodai and put in the runway information, that should be fine. But we're not. We're going to take it from Kodai. If that gives us an option for runway 32 left. And yeah. So, and then this reading up here is basically if you're inbound from the east or if you're inbound from the north. You would look at this, inbound from the north, turn, boom. But we are inbound from the east heading west. So there you go. That's why we're going to look at, you know, this reading right here and make that happen. So, and I'm saying right here, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. So I apologize. So essentially, what I was saying from the north, you would follow this track, but we are coming in from the east heading west, so we're reading this information. So that was my bad, thinking you guys can see that. You guys are like, what is he talking about? Okay, so we need to be focusing now because we need to monitor our aircraft and then get ready to get our callouts for Osaka. All right. Doing good here. You know what, Cessna Captain? If it's visual, we are most certainly going to be doing a... I mean, if it's VFR conditions, we are most certainly going to be doing a visual landing, which is my favorite. Alright, so let's check the weather. I'm going to update it. And so that you guys know that I'm for real, we'll check it. It is VFR conditions, so we are going to do a visual landing, the funnest. We're just going to use the ILS and all that for a visual reference, but then once we get far enough out, we'll get a stereo cockpit. I'll cut the music out so that I can focus and you guys can help me land. So that's what we're going to do. Let's see, still not quite to our top of descent. We got about 2 nautical miles to do that, so we'll wait to start descending, of course, and then we will get into that. Let's go ahead and try to be good stewards and go back over here and descent checklist, landing altitude verify, which we already have, system annunciator recall, and that's for checking the pressurization. So we already have that landing altitude, which we did before, which is 0 because the field elevation is like 37. And as you can see, we have started the descent. The aircraft went ahead and listened out to our cries. Now another thing we can do after we get the weather in is put in our QNH. So landing altitude, we have verified that. System annunciator. Let's check. There's nothing. Boom. We are clear. So we recalled that. Approach ref page, VREF, and all that. So now we need to start getting this information in there. I can tell you now we're only going to do an auto brake of 2, which is over here, and get that situated. I don't know if there's any pilots around me, but we'll do our call out here in a second. Let me guys show you the weather. I'm refreshing it, and then I'm going to bring it in because last time, shame on me, I wasn't showing you what I was doing. So really quick, here's the weather. It's still like it was at the 0900 meeting. You can see this one is updated now to pretty much the same thing. But here's the QNH is 1025 and it's VFR conditions. That is what we are worried about. So let's get our QNH in the standby. All right, and we said it was 1025. Let me show you guys, not you guys, but you guys, where we're looking at that. So if you come right in here, now we put it in there. So after we click off the standard button, it'll automatically go to 1025. We need to do that on your guys' side as well. So let's come over here and do the same thing. You're gonna look down here, and I'll put it to 1025. All right, so we're legit. Let's see here. There you go. Now, one thing we do need to check, folks, is for us to be on a get the right transition altitude, we need to check the chart. So, okay, we can do it. I was going to do it on the approach chart. We can do it here again. Now, if you want to know what the transition level is here in the same, you know, Japan, I was assuming it was going to be the same thing. It's flight level 140. That's when we're going to click from standard to the 1025 on the QNH. All right, now let's go ahead and look at our park. Ooh, it's a little bit of turbulence there. You can see us dancing around. All right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to look at Flight Aware. Let me open up another window up here. I'm going to look, what I'm going to be looking at basically is the actual route that the real aircraft takes so that we can do our best to land at the right gate. You can hear the aircraft going to flight idle, trying to keep the descent speed of 290 knots. Let's see here. Flight finder, random flight. Let's see. Let's see. RJAA, RJOO. I'm trying to look for the flight because I forgot to get the gate in which we actually land to. So there's been a lot of flights canceled. So I know it's a Japanese. Let's see here. I think it's like 118 or something like that. Okay, that is the flight. And in Osaka, even though it's the reverse flight, let me show you guys what I did so you know I'm legit. So this is the reverse. This is the Japanese flight that really takes place, as you can see. It's just reverse. Itami, Japan is Osaka, as you can see, but it's reverse. But you can see they take off from gate 17, or they depart from gate 17. So we're most certainly going to look for gate 17 for the immersion. So gate 17, where are you? Let's see. I'm trying to find it where it gives me the actual coordinates. It may not give me the actual coordinates. Parking spots, da-da-da. Alright, let me see what I'm doing here. Okay, we're still doing good there. Let's go over here and reduce this to about 40 nautical miles out. And the aircraft is continuing to bounce around a little bit. Alright, so now let's look at that gate 17. Here's gate 17. Coordinates. Let's see, spot number 75 through 77. Okay, so here is gate 17 right here. Okay, you see that? So now that we know it's up in here, what we have to do is come back to the airport apron and make it realistic for us to understand. So we're parking right over in here. It should be gate 17. So we're going to land runway 32 left. In a perfect world, we would get off of Whiskey 9, come over here to Charlie 4 and come smooth straight in. You like that? Smooth straight in right here. If we get off a little earlier, we can take Charlie 3. We go left on Alpha and do it that way. And then, of course, we use full runway. We got to come back and backtrack. But right here, folks, is where we're going between this and this. Boom, yeah. You like that? I was going to say booyah, but I added boom. Booyah. Don't mind me. All right. Again, we're doing good. I like it. So because the winds are so calm, let's go ahead and go into our initial ref. And so our VREF is going to be flaps 40 at 141 knots. So our VREF is essentially going to be, our approach speed is going to be about 146. 146 on the approach speed, which is awesome. Now, there's another feature over here. If you guys remember, performance on landing, and you know, I'm curious. So it's variable on the wind heading. So let's see if the Cessna captain taught me well, and let me look and see if I can type this in correctly. So it's at 1 knot, and the speeds are variable. So, or the directions are variable, and the speed is 1 knot. So I'm assuming we're going to type in 0, 0, 0 slash 1. Booyah! That's how we do it. Once again, thanks Cessna Captain. Hey, what's back up? Chief Sim Pilot, good to see you back. So we're typing this information in, and we're going to go 3-2 left. And we're doing flaps 40, da-da-da, da-da-da. Okay, so that is our calculations that we just did. Let's go ahead and check where we're at. We're still doing good, folks. We are not remotely where we need to square up the heading. So once I get to the code, I'll put the heading on. Let's say it says we're going to go 296. Actually, we can do it now. Let's see, because we're almost there. 19 nautical miles. We're on a heading of 258. So watch what we're going to do, folks. We're going to make it smooth as butter. So let's square up our heading. Okay. So now this is important to do because we don't want the aircraft doing something crazy, and it's off about a degree or so. There we go. Let's straighten it back up because we are yawing. Now, we don't want the aircraft simply doing what it wants to do. So now we're going to come back over here to the arrival, and we're going to pick approaches ILS 32 left. And again, there is no transition. So let's execute that. And left. Now let's see what it does. Mirabino, Ikoma, Mido, runway. So that was easy. That was easy. I thought it was going to be a whole lot rougher than that. So some things go wrong, some things go right. Let's go ahead and get it back into lateral navigation. There we go, folks. Boy, we got a nice, easy street happen. Okay, we need to bleed. We need to slow down slightly. So what we got to do now is come over here. And as you can see here, we got the air brakes on. So we are most certainly retarding, and retarding just means the flight controls are pulling back, as you can see, because we have the air brakes on. Let's see, let's retard them. I don't know why they're not retarding. They're doing their own thing. This keeps coming back up. So if it does it again, we'll do something different. But they are retarding now. I don't know if that was a glitch or not, but now we are bleeding that speed. There we go. So hopefully we don't have any difficulties there. Now we got to pay attention. We're getting ready to come up on our transition altitude here. Osaka international traffic. Japan Airlines 318 is descending via the Ikoe. We are currently 6.7 nautical miles from Odai. Expecting runway 32 left on the visual full stop for Osaka traffic. Yeah, let me see if my flight controls has something to do with that glitch. There we go. I took it out and plugged it back in, and maybe that was it. Telling you, man, sim problems, it's always something. You know, it's always something. But that's okay. Let's go into the plan mode really quick. And it looks good. So if we back it out, let's say to 10 nautical miles, and then we go over here to the plan mode. All right. Let's see. Yeah, this thing is acting really funny. I didn't ask for flaps. It gave me flaps. So there must be a glitch between my keyboard, which is fine. That's all right. We'll go here to plan mode, and we can deal with glitches. We'll make it work. Now, if we come over here again and look at our current situation, go back here to legs and see where we're at. And you see it's a nice, there's the ILS. It's a nice, smooth route in. And that's it. So that's cool, folks. Let's come back over here and put it on our map mode. And then let's extend that range again so we can see what's coming up. Once we get here direct to Mirai, we can go ahead and activate our approach and make sure that our speeds are good. And we did pass that, messing with that throttle quadrant. We did pass our transition altitude, so let's get that in there. Now let's get this QNH where it needs to be on our standby. So there we go. We've got accurate readings, and then at 10,000 we'll go ahead and get our landing lights on. As you can see, we're picking up a little bit of speed, but it's retarding now, so it's not making that noise. So it must have been, now we can go ahead and hit those brakes again. We got the spoilers out, as you can see. Let's go to the other side. You can see a better view of the spoilers here. They are deployed on the wing, trying to slow us down, because we are slowing down to 240 now. Don't forget our approach speed is 146. Clean and smooth. All right. Moving right along. As we get to our speed, we can get rid of those air brakes. Let's do that now. Alright, speed brake is back armed, but the brakes are off. Alright, now the aircraft is holding the appropriate speed. Alright. Looking good. So when we get on the ground, folks, we should be getting a super quick turnaround. We're about at the 10,000 feet mark. All right, now the airplane should be pitching down so we can make above a certain altitude there. It's funny, it's actually speeding up for that, which is fine. Let me go down here really quick and check the speeds. Let's see, we got 240, Abino 197. Okay, so it's going to be slowing down once we get closer. I don't really know that we need to be this slow here, so I'm going to probably take over the speeds and the elevations. Mirai, we need to be above 6,000. So let's go ahead and start kind of getting in a visual VFR world. I'm going to turn all the landing lights on, runway turn-off lights, you name it, you frame it. We got them all on there, folks. We're going to put our ignitions into continuous just in case we have an issue. And guys, we're going to get down on the ground. I hope it's a fast turnaround. And then we're back up in the air so that we can get over to our next destination so I can get you fine folks where you need to be. So let's take over the speed of the aircraft now. We're going to leave it at 240. And then we are going to descend to our next point. Alright, a little bit more of an aggressive descent. See a little bit of speed picking up. So let's drop our speed back to the 230 mark to stabilize that. And if we need to add some spoilers, which looks like well, it's topping out at 246, we're still under the 250 restriction, under 10,000 feet, so we're doing well. Now let's back this out. It's about 40 nautical miles out. Let's go over to your side and keep that longer range look in there so I can take a peek. So when we get pretty much right here, past this point, we're going to put on our localizer information just to be on the safe side. Looks like we have some of the city out there. And then, of course, if you... let's get a little bit of speed brakes on. I don't like that speed. Alright. You can see they're deployed. Alright, let's go ahead and put our localizer button on. So that's armed. Even though I'm still going to do a visual, it's just to get us lined up and get us on track. Okay, so at Ikema, we need to be at 3,500 feet. Alright, so essentially now we can do this situation here. And we did make our constraint. We needed to be at 6,000 or above here at Mirai, even though we're doing it ourselves. Now you see Ikema and Hito are both at 3,500 feet, so we're fine there. And now let me get my approach chart up, and I'll show you guys that once again, what I'm looking at up top before we actually do it. Alright folks, here is the approach chart. Here we go. Ikema and Mito are supposed to be at 3,500 feet. And then, of course, we have a nice long 10. Once we get to Mito, it'll be 10.6 inbound. So we can reference that. So Ikema and Mito are at 3,500 feet. And then we get on the glide slope. The heading is 322, which you can see where we have programmed in. The touchdown elevation on the field is 31 feet. And you can see our radio altimeter should be set to 281 on the radio altimeter, so we can get that situated. Our speeds are doing good. Let's make sure I'm clicked into here. Alright, there's our speeds. Alright. Now what we can do for our radio altimeter, right now it's on radio, which is good. So if we move this number, let's see, the radio, and we'll actually just leave that off. You can see the glide slope and everything moving. So ILS has been captured, so we're getting close, folks. So now what we need to do, got to come over here and hit this approach button. Now you can see the glide slope is going to be captured at its will. And that we have captured what's called the localizer, which is simply a vector beacon that the navigational equipment recognizes and gets the aircraft all lined up linearly. And then the glide slope will get us on a 3-degree down glide slope to the field. Even though we're going to take it IFR. It's kind of cloudy out there. Alright. Let me come over to the first officer side really quick and look in. Osaka traffic, Japan Airlines 318 is turning right to final, passing Abino now for full stop, runway 32 left for Osaka traffic. Alright folks, let's make this money. You can see the localizer is lining us up, so now essentially we need to bring that speed way back to about 170. Alright, let's get those brakes deployed all the way out. Now we want to look at the flaps 1 speed. Flaps 1, 2, and 5 are all at 250. So you guys know what that means. Let's get this drag going on so we can get us slowed down. See if we got a visual out there. Boy, I don't know. You guys are seeing what I'm seeing. We're gonna have to stay on the ILS until I can actually see the runway. It is a hazy day. Okay, so what's that decision height again? Circle to land, straight in, landing. ILS decision height is 281 or 250. So let me see if we can. Let me see how this works here. All right. There we go. She should be picking back up. All right, let's go another stage of flaps. Getting into that dangerous zone there. Let's pick her up a little bit. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and deploy our landing gear, and let's go for that sterile cockpit. Still looking for that visual. All right, let's get it down to our approach speed now. Gear is down. Flaps are continuing to come down. All right, now we are on the glide slope, and all right. So what the problem is that our flaps are all the way out, and they're not working. So you guys can see we have an emergency here. So let's pick up that airspeed. All right, so something. There we go. What the problem was, they weren't indicating. Oh my goodness, you guys, that was an actual almost emergency. They're still not indicating. So we have a malfunction on board. All right, autopilot's coming off. My aircraft. I don't know how we're going to do this, folks, but we're going to make it happen. All right. Let's see. At least we have the gear down.
2,500.
I think I have side of the runway right now. So again, this is what I don't like. And we're still above the glide slope, so that's good. Another thing that we're going to do, we are most certainly going to, we need to do full brakes here. We don't know how we're touching down. So, yeah. Just look down. Okay. All right. So, this is ugly, folks. We're coming in super hot. We are above the, I think I have the runway right in front of us. We're still above the glide slope. All right. Let me pitch us down a little bit. All right, folks. So it looks like we are only going to be streaming one flight. Otherwise, I'll have to reload this whole thing. I apologize about that. But we are going to see if we drop the nose. Yep, that's what I'm doing. We are most certainly Osaka traffic. Japan Airlines 318 has declared an emergency. We are inbound on final for runway 32 left. Declaring an emergency for Osaka traffic. All right. I know glide slope is off, but let me bring the speed down a little bit because we are hauling butt, and we're gonna have to be deploying some of our flaps here. So I'm here to tell you we are struggling here. Let's nose down. All right. Looks like we're losing lift. So we can't lose that lift. Let me bring that nose down a little bit. I didn't expect to have an emergency landing today, so I don't know how this is going to go, folks. We might crash, we might not. This is one of those things about the Zebo. It always does it to me. All right, guys, I'm struggling here. Just to let you know. Pitching down. We're coming in super hot. We should never come in this fast. But we're going to do what we can.
300.
Auto throttles off. Woo! We are definitely smoking in here. All right, I'm about to go all the way back on the power, and we're just going to coast her in.
100.
Come on, baby.
50,
Woo!
40, 30, 10.
Oh, we wasted that landing. Oh, my goodness. All right. Reversers are on. You guys saw what I was working with. I know, but at least we didn't crash because this is on full settings. We did not crash, folks. We did not crash. I am so proud about that. Let's get this auto brake situation off.
80 knots.
All right. Okay. Wheel brakes are activated.
Gentlemen, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened and your...
Whoo! I do not know how we did that emergency landing, folks. You guys witnessed it firsthand on my first stream. How ugly that was, not due to our fault. I don't know how we did it. I don't know how we did it. Lock at the throttle, noise lock, and AVTAP settings. We made it. Good thing I trained a little bit on this aircraft, because that was ugly. All right. Osaka traffic, Japan Airlines 318 is clear of runway 32 left, and we will be taxiing into the ramp at this time. I'm going to stop the transmission. I have no clue where we're at. That was nerve-wracking, folks. We'll just leave the runway turn-off lights and all that on. Let's go ahead and get our strobe light off. Whoo! I know these passengers, you guys should be super happy how that went. All right, folks, let's make sure the aircraft is cleaned up. I literally do not know what happened. But again, real-world life stuff. Let's get our APU on before we even start moving. And then to wrap it up, we'll get our replay in, which is crazy. Let's see here. All right, let's go over here. Okay, nothing seems to be going right at this point. My track IR is not even working, folks, so we have a complete meltdown of sorts. All right. See if we can at least get the parking brake release. There we go. So, folks, look at that. Track IR is not working. Several things went wrong. Never want to ask any specific questions. Hardware settings. Yeah, you know, here's the funny thing. This has never happened to me before, guys. I fly this aircraft quite a bit. And the only thing that's happened to me before was the actual... sweating on the nose over here, was the actual landing gear didn't go down and I had to come... Oh, now the track IR is working. See that? So I think it's more of an issue with something with the computer doesn't like whatever, which is very strange. It's never happened. Maybe it's because I'm doing a live stream and I'm also recording the video. I don't know. But anyway, the Zebo's always been a little bit slightly glitched and bugged. And I'm not saying anything about it. The Zebo's freeware and it's better than a lot of payware. But what I've found is that sometimes it can be bugged. Osaka traffic, Japan Airlines 318 will be crossing the parallel runway, taxiing into the ramp via Charlie 4. Alright, so, and I'm going to go look at the AVTAP, and let's see, one of my either Chief Sim Pilot or Cessna Captain mentioned that I can go to the AVTAP location there and simply look at some of the failures and stuff, so I probably will have to do that. But here's the thing, we made it. The aircraft is not serviceable, so we most certainly will not be doing the next leg. Okay, here's 19, and remember we're going to 17. So yeah, I think this I do too, Cessna Captain. The joysticks are definitely asking up, and I'm gonna hit you up guys up anyway. I need to know, somebody asked me to start a Discord server. Guys, look, I'm not the oldest guy in the world, I'm not the youngest. I'm 42 years old, getting ready to turn 43, so I can most certainly use all of your assisty-onts with that and check those settings. Okay, so if you can see here on the ground, we've got 18, 17, and 16, so we're gonna go right ahead to 17. So again, sim problems and emergency problems, again, that has never happened. You guys can check out my previous videos in the Zebo. That's never happened. But here's the deal, we made a crested landing, but X-Plane and all its metrics and measurables said that we didn't crash. So worst case scenario, the passengers has had a nice little scare. Japan Airlines is probably going to get sued and I'll probably be fired. The good thing is it's a sim world, so I'll just respawn somewhere else and obviously be working for another airline. So sorry not to continue on to the next flight, but I am not trusting this aircraft. There goes my Middle Eastern accent. This aircraft. And you know, it's good fun. It's all in good fun. Let's go outside really quick and just look at how we're lining up to the door. Since we don't have any real measurables, we were lined up there. So we'll assume that first gate is what we're going to use. So let's just ease up slightly. Alright, I'm pretty much happy with that, folks. Let us go on in and get this naughty aircraft shut down. Okay, taxi lights are coming off. The APU's up and active. Let's get the APU switched over. And let's get our anti-collision light off, of course. And we need to go down here and turn off our transponder. So the good thing is, you know, it's high pressure in emergency situations. It just really takes your breath away. We'll turn on the bleeds. We'll open isolation valve just in case. And we'll leave all of that stuff off. Let's, of course, get our generators are all off. Oh, actually, you know what? We're on APU, so we can leave that on. Let's do the master caution, all right. Let's go ahead and turn the engines off. Whew! Man, that was crazy. Yes, Cessna Captain. What an interesting flight. Thanks, Chief Sim Pilot. Love you too, brother. Thanks for checking in. Be looking forward to be checking in on your next stream. And you know, I don't know if it's my dad or my brother. So dad/brother, we need a rum. Oh, it's my dad for sure. Rum and coke. We do need a rum and coke after that emergency, boy. I tell you. We're gonna watch that replay here in a second. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get our all of our hydraulics off. We can turn the fuel pumps off. And let's de-escalate the aircraft is what I like to call it. We can get our packs off, which we should have done before we shut the engine down. But the bleeds are on, so we're going to have some duct pressure. Now let's go all the way up top and check our APU situation. Let's get our window probes off. And we're going to be done flying for today after the replay. Get our yaw damper off and all that good stuff. So I believe up top is looking good. Let me see how much fuel I have in here so we can keep running that APU for a minute. Okay, so we'll keep running the APU for our replay. Let us crack on with some music here, of course. And let's get that playing, and then we'll get into a little scene here. Alright, so I'm going to get the replay ready. You guys hold tight, and we'll be back in maybe a couple of seconds so we can see exactly how that replay went on. Let's see here. That's right. Thank you so much, Cessna Captain. Man, I love the support. Montón de gracias, papá. A ti. He says any land in an industry, because he is training to be an actual pilot. And I'll fly on your aircraft any day, man. But he says any land that you can walk away from is a good one. The aircraft, if anything, the landing gear is going to need to be rebooted, reset. They got to take it into the hangar, get it up on some jack stands, and get the messed up landing gear that I jacked up. But let's look at this replay, my folks. So we will be back in like 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
To 300. 200.
All right, folks, here is the replay. Let's see what we look like coming in. Super fast. Whoo, that thing was smoking in. Bam. Woo wee. I mean, we made it. I don't know how. I don't know how, folks. We absolutely made it. My wife said she was screaming in the back. Oh yeah, we'll butter it. We would have most certainly buttered it if we wouldn't have had the emergency. So again, I'm thinking we didn't do too bad with that situation. So let's jump back and look at another angle of that replay. Of course, I'm gonna give the one that my wife actually likes to see. So let's get that going really quick. All right, here's the one my wife likes. Sorry it's so loud. Whoo! Coming down, coming down. We still had a little flare. We still had a little flare. Oh my goodness. All right, one more from the cabin and then we'll call it quits. So let's get that one situated. All right, so as you can see, this is where the passengers most certainly probably left something in their pants. They don't look to be screaming with their unsafe selves with no mask on. Man, you can see the wing really working hard to manage that speed. Boy, we're coming in hot. Let's check out the other passenger side, see what they see. It was nasty, folks. It was nasty business. I think part of the problem too, I was fighting the aircraft because in the panic of the emergency, I left the air spoilers down just to make sure we slowed down immediately upon touchdown in case that was a glitch. Ooh! Aye! Aye, 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 aye. That was cray-cray. All right. Woof. Not good at all. Not good at all, folks. But as you can see, somehow, some way, we landed, and you know, the landing gear are, like I said, it's a surprise they're even working. I have landed the aircraft too hard where the landing gear actually broke, so we didn't break them. Again, X-Plane is saying we didn't break them. It's on, settings are on full realism. So, hey, look, guys, we're gonna just let the plane coast in. We're gonna wrap up the stream here. Look, we didn't get to the stuff happens. You know, we always have to adjust, adapt, and overcome in this life. COVID is here, so it changed everything up. This plane pretty much broke on us, so we got to change it up. We won't be doing that second leg, unfortunately. I was really looking forward to getting in here and do a quick turnaround. It didn't happen. So perhaps on the next stream, whenever it will be, since you guys know I like to leave from the airport that I landed on, I can't just jump somewhere. In my brain, it just, maybe it's my military experience, a little bit of OCD, but I just have to leave from this airport in my mind. So we'll be leaving from this airport on our next flight. We probably won't be flying this old Zebo, but if we do, I'm going to make sure I go to that av tab, make sure we clear out any faults. But I tell you what, it made for a real life emergency, and leaving out of Narita in Tokyo, you know, remember the landing gear wouldn't come up using my keyboard, so we had to take the mouse and literally click on the handle and then put it down into the off position where it should be stowed for flight. So you know, we just soaked this up to a real life emergency that we're able to walk away from, virtually, of course. And look, thank you guys for checking in with me. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. I look forward to doing more interesting flights. Send me some comments, some tips for you streamers out there. I can make this stream better. Hopefully I can get some graphics, meaning like the estimated time in arrival, heading and all that stuff what other streamers have. I see where the apple's at. I just haven't messed with it yet. We'll get that situated. So in the meantime, I want you guys to treat each other kindly. Stay tuned for our next flight. Hopefully it will be more smoother than this and with no onboard emergencies. And let's see what we got here. Let's see. Got me. Looks like my dad's saying he's got a triple rum and coke right now after that flight because his nerves are bad. But you know, simulator problems actually mixed in with a glitch with the Zeebo, or it could have been a real fault mixed in with simulator glitches. For sure made for an excellent simulated flight emergency in which we handled it somehow, some way. So there you go, folks. Hey, look, Christmas is around the corner. Today's the 19th, 6 days to go. So if anything, you know what I'm saying, let's get back to not worrying so much about gifts, worrying about the fact that we're upright and alive, be able to spend time with each other, be able to make new memories. And don't forget my overall message: treat each other kindly. Sometimes you need to receive more than you transmit. And if you want to succeed in life, plan to succeed, because if you don't plan, you're planning to fail. Thanks a lot, guys, for checking me out here on Dre Sanchez, aka the Motivated Sim Pilot. We just gonna bounce our heads to this really quick as we get out of here, and you know, we'll see you guys next time. And enjoy the taxi in, and I'll end the stream. Again, thanks everybody for your support. Stream is going to be ending now. Take care of each other, stay safe. We're all going to kick COVID in the butt. Let's be smart about it. Wear your mask, keep your distancing, and keep your family close. One love.